Our joys and our struggles are different, but guess what? We all will end up in the same place eventually.
For sure.
But the question you have to ask yourself is, what are you fitting into your dash? Are you placing objects that will last for eternity in your dash, or are you just taking this popularity that's temporary in exchange for eternal?
Come on.
Damnation. That's the question you got to ask yourself. See, the young colt was needed by the Lord so Jesus could carry out the mission of saving you and I. Some days later, after the colt had brought Jesus into the city, Jesus was now on his way to the cross. You know, he came into the city and they were very excited about him being there, and then days later they were now ready to crucify him. It's amazing how those who cheered you on and then become your enemies, amen? So Jesus is now walking through the city. People are spitting on him and beating him, and there's people that's walking behind him, and those who are walking behind him, they're crying and they're weeping, and Jesus turns to them and he says, do not weep for me, weep for yourselves. See, tell your saying, don't cry for me, but if you don't know Christ, you cry for yourself. Because that is where the issue lies. See, if you're sitting here today and you hear time after time people telling you to get your life right and to come and learn about this Christ who has saved us all, but yet you still leave here unchanged, then our brother has died in vain. If you leave here going back to life as usual, business as usual, then our brother has died in vain. The Lord needed him to bring you into this place to learn more about who Jesus Christ was. I believe it. I know it to be true. See, the beauty in that story that the story doesn't end. The story doesn't end that day. See, today, your story is just beginning. Right now, it becomes the first day of the rest of your life. Now, I'm going to share this because Mother asked me to. She told me it was something that helped her out for the past couple of years. And a while back, I was reading about a shepherd. And one thing about a shepherd had a slingshot, right? And I would think to myself that this slingshot would be used to maybe, you know, defend itself against giants or people or something like that. But that's not what it was for. See, a shepherd would always have a flock of sheep, and there was always at least one sheep that would go astray. There's always at least one hard-headed sheep that wanted to go and do his own thing. And so the shepherd would take his slingshot, and it would throw a rock in front of the sheep to scare it back into the sheepfold. Eventually, the sheep realizes that it's not nothing over there that's really I should be worried about. That's just my shepherd warning me not to go that route. And so it gets smart and it says, you know what, I'm going to keep on going my own way. Eventually the shepherd gets tired of throwing rocks to scare it and get it back. And eventually the shepherd has to break the sheep's legs. Now I thought to myself, you know what, why would the shepherd break the sheep's legs? It makes more work on the shepherd. Because now the shepherd has to carry this sheep until its legs heal. Well, the shepherd goes weeks and weeks and weeks of carrying the sheep that always went astray, the sheep that wanted to do what it wanted to do, right? And eventually, once that sheep has healed and can walk on its own, it has become so used to being with the shepherd that it will never leave the shepherd's side once it can walk by itself.
Come on here.
So what does that mean for you and I today? See, we all have our issues. We all love to go astray and do our own thing and live our own life when we want to live it. And God, being the shepherd, he'll throw rocks in your direction to get your attention. Some of us have had near-death experiences. Some of us know we shouldn't be here today. Some of us have beat cases. But you know what? We still decide to go our own way. My question to you is, do you want God to have to break your legs in order to get your attention?
Come on now.
Or will you willfully come back and walk with the shepherd? I want us all to stand in this place. Stand on your feet, please. I told you I won't be before you long. But I didn't want to leave here without doing this. So I do believe that there are some of us in here who are like that sheep that keeps going astray. God has been calling you, he's been nagging you, he's been pulling you, and he's asking you, When are you going to come back to the sheepfold? He's not asking for perfection. He's just asking for a willing heart. He's not asking for you to be perfect. But he's just asking you to try something different. You tried everything else. Won't you try me? Amen. So I want to offer you this opportunity. If you know without a shadow of a doubt that you want something different than how you're living right now. If you know without a shadow of a doubt that you're here in this place for a reason, that God has you alive for a reason, and you want to figure out what that reason is, I will tell you and I will commission you right now to walk your way up. Walk your way here, because his life was not in vain. Somebody will change today. Somebody's going to change. Somebody's going to become new today based off what Tay lived.
Yes.
Don't take this moment for granted. Because we don't know the day, we don't know the hour, we don't know that. Don't take this day for granted.
Yes.
I challenge you. If there's anybody else, there's still time. There's still time. I still believe that he's talking to you, he's pushing you, he's saying go.